I know that test pyramid is always somewhere. I'm not sure whether the amount of the tests should be exactly like pyramid. I have a young lady who is very eager to doing playwright testing, and her love is that let's do full end-to-end automation, because end-to-end automation is a king. Improving our performance is not like giving golden card to AWS, give me more resources, but this is the hard way. This is engineering way. My vision of being tester is first of all to being engineer.
Welcome to Software Testing Unleashed. My name is Richie and I'm happy to share another episode from the TestCon 5 conference from Mauritius. My guest today was Sebastian Malyska, short Seba. We talked about APIs and why testers should look behind the front end, what the top 5 API protocols are and how they differ, how MCP connects AI agents with real systems, and why good API design saves you tokens and money. Enjoy the episode. Hi Seba, great to have you on the show here.
Thank you, Richard. Great to having me.
Yeah.
Should I look on camera or look on
No,
you?
you can look to me. We ignore the camera. The
There is nobody.
There's nobody here, so we can just talk relaxed. Yeah, we are here on Mauritius,
Yes.
the TestCon conference. A very active community here for software quality and testing. Yeah.
It's my third time here. I remember first time. Again, how much time you have? Yeah, honestly, because this is really nice story. Like when I met Loveless, then he mentioned there is some kind of that kind of place that there's an interesting community, and he would like to give some knowledge, share with this community, show them people outside of the island, and in that moment, we was freshly elected exec, and we're looking some kind of ideas how we can, give something to the community. And there was idea like there are some places where, there are people willing to, learn something or meet somebody, but the traveling there, it's cost so much that the local community never will be afford to invite anybody. Well, if we're talking about really big stars, then for example, maybe one, if they're the dedicated, sponsor about that. But definitely forget about, 2, 3, 5 people. And still, this is, big challenge. So we start thinking on the exec how we can solve that kind of situation. And there is a pop-up idea like ISTQB conference. And those ISTQB conference, it was exactly like we figured out, okay, we still have some money, and we definitely feel ourselves like we should give back, something to different communities. Definitely, there will be. There we already know, not only because this is not only Love's case. We already know there are community that are willing to to have that kind of speakers, but they never will be affordable. So figure out, okay, we know how to organize events because usually each of us in ISTQB is active outside of the, being ISTQB and organizing or used to organizing or about to organizing some kind of events. So we have knowledge, know-how, we have, some money. We can also travel there and try to organize some kind of dedicated meetings, some other activities that will be, win-win solution. That's why the idea of the ISTQB pop up, and we said, okay, let's try. And the Mauritius was the first pickup country, like evaluation. And I remember still like we came here, and the first event was in the Cyber City. Then I learned that there's something like Cyber City, and let's imagine, European that never was in the Mauritius, traveling here, and take me to the Cyber City. And the first ideas, how it might look like. It's, when you heard about Dubai, you can expect anything. And indeed, this is the region, I don't know, city or the region, it looks like, a very high building, a lot of people, just walking there. This is not living area, this is rather walking area. And there was the conference. I guess, as if I remember, 2 tracks. Parallel with the conference, we organized some kind of meetings, different working groups. So they have not only money, but also have speakers. Of course, they willing to pick up who would like to speak. And it was a huge success. But what struck me, this is not immediate success. So, okay, being there and talking with people, it was one aspect, and it was really great aspect. Also, there was cases like, for example, when we had it there, Olivier was invited some kind of interview in the national television. So then, for example, they learn about that there's that kind of event is happening. And unfortunately, Oliver can't speak French. Here, it's important. So he could go to mass media and talk a little bit about a profession, about ISTQB. And again, it sounds like really good event. A lot of people, PR for and branding, everything built. And we still feel that, okay, this is good idea, good project, we should continue. And after that, year or 2 years later, we start seeing the benefit from that kind of event. Because as Lovler said, in the local community, like some doors was already closed to them. Even that they was in the time to organize that kind of event, the doors was closed. After this event, after this interview, after that we have a few meetings with different companies. Well, by the way, I found the company which is located either here and either in Poland, which is also was surprise to me. So after that, he come back to us and say, okay, now those doors are open, and even inviting them and calling them, let's have a meeting. So that I call it always butterfly effect. Like this is really small thing, and we can organize, and nobody could know except of course ISTQB, but it did the job.
And I think it's often overseen that ISTQB is not just a bunch of people who are doing their syllabus, but also trying to give something back to the community, especially to, as you said, communities who are not able to travel everywhere and doing conference attendees and all over the world. So bring the knowledge here to the local communities. Very great. Yeah.
In Africa region, and how long we are 9 hour in flight from Europe. This is very far, travel. So this community, the same Indonesia community, I still remember going to Bali. I know that they struggling to organize something. In this year, for example, they organized something online. I'm in contact with Caribbean board. They also thinking by many years they thinking about organizing. But logistically for them is big challenge. There's few Iceland located, and they need to then travel, which is traveling between them is challenge, and now inviting also speakers. For us for us this is like heaven. Like this is the location that we traveling to for vacation. But for them, this is totally different perspective.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Thank you for this side view on the IST community ISTQB community work. I think it's very interesting. But, you especially have today a talk about API testing. And I read your abstract, and when I think often when testers say, "Oh, we have to test the API," API is such a general word, not knowing what is behind that. And in your abstract, I read from the big 5 types of APIs, and there I want to take a look into it. What's the difference, and why do we have to know that there is a difference in the architecture and the technology behind that?
Yeah. So at first I was looking idea for abstract for talk. I used to talking about very abstract things, and now I have ambition to talk about very technical stuff. So my friend David, say hello David, inspired me to by his talk. Because he used to have a talk that he going from protocol to protocol and discussing about his personal experience about testing this. So I inspired from this and start look at check his resources, updated and start talking about also protocols. And then AI was introduced to my big picture. So we are much far from the perspective like we used to have. But yeah, coming back to your question, so my talk starting with the analyzing of report. This is report done by the postman, so we all know the tool and those company, and they definitely doing a lot of analysis. How much is being API interface used? How many teams investing? Whether this is the interface that can be used to to monetize the product, or whether this is simple backend for some kind of front end application. So they doing deeply knowledge, and what I like a lot in this report. Uh, a lot of company, as far as I remember, it was 30,000 companies, something like this. So huge number. So I still think this is kind of representative.
Yeah.
And if you compare year to year, the REST protocol, it's still in the king. It's on the top. And the second is, I guess, webhooks. Maybe I start, thinking what was changed. So we changed. 2024, there was GraphQL as in the second position. Now it's going down. We don't have still a report for 2026. So you're talking about the data from report 2025. So this is going down, and I guess webhooks going up. But we can say that more or less we have the same top five or protocols like REST, like SOAP, like GraphQL, webhooks, and that's that kind of stuff. And JSON RPC, blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff. So my intention at very beginning was just to remind testers, like because we all love clicking. We all love front end. We have huge hype about whether Cypress or Playwright is better, or maybe Selenium there will be next version, next generation, all that fight. Even on a yesterday conference there was talk, Lilia talk about that she has thousand front end tests. By my heart, I'm backenders, and if I need to, do any front end test, I always going to down, down, down. This comes from the experience in my life. Like usually, the front end we used to have Flicky, and backenders was the real you can run, and this was giving more predictive output. Not always ideal, but more predictive, and definitely quicker one.
Yeah.
So I always was the beginners, and the concept was that I would like to just remind the testers, like, don't do on the hype, but try to understand what is happening behind the scene, what kind of protocols, how they talk to each other. Also try to explain and show the difference. Like REST, it's not the protocol itself, it's kind of recommendation. So if somebody figure out like let's use get to remove some object, don't kill this person.
Yeah.
Probably there was reason, and this is allowed because again this is not protocol versus SOAP, which is very standardized protocol where we have something which is related with the usually money, third party integration, where you need to be exact about about the amount, about the type, all those stuff is pre-validated, and so on and so on. So this idea was just to show people like who probably never have opportunity to see how looks the very simple flow, like for example for us get and the response for SOAP letters is sending post and there's 200 and some magic is happening. Explain why GraphQL is so important. Like so for example you can send a request about certain data, and you can in the request define what exactly data you are looking for. Or, for example, you don't need to fetch everything. This was the main reason why GraphQL was introduced. Like, we don't want to, client just collecting all object A, all object B, and all object C, and doing some kind of, matching on the client side, but just send one request and say that from this and this, I would like to this particular information, and just give me the report. And this was, the idea of GraphQL. So and so on. So I want to very quickly, one slide, I will be showing, exact flow, how it looks like, and explaining. But then again, agentic AI started. We already heard many talks here about AI, about AI itself, about agentic solution. So again, my vision of being tester is first of all to being engineer. So I cannot imagine to test something without understanding how it's working. And even that we might, love that we have, chat window, we can chat with something which is responding to us, and for example, ask those identity to, create Jira, move Jira, analyze me these requirements, prepare me automated, scenario for that. It's everything fine, but I was wondering how it's happening and where's the limitation. And I always, when I playing with ChatGPT, I saw that, if you're asking about some kind of action, that he not giving you the answer, but you see that he generate Python script, doing some kind of analysis and giving you back. Now we have MCP, so it's changed a lot, and it is game changer. So this is yet another thing that I would like to explain, that MCP give the real data, which those AI needed to stop hallucinating and the real work on something which is valid. And then also I realized that there are new protocols and they communicate in a slightly different way, but still they build on the top of the protocols that we already know. So gRPC is used by default, and then can be used by the different level of transportation. And if we're looking, from high level perspective, when you Google MCP, you immediately you get information like MCP server is like USB for computer. I hate those analogy because when I look at this and didn't catch at all. What do you mean? USB-C port to computer? What do you mean? For me, this is. I would like rather say that MCP is like any external devices, because even that we have very clever box. Those clever box still will be closed inside of the box, and if we would like to do something, we need some kind of interaction with the real systems. And fun is that if we have those interactions still will be made on the old protocols. So we need to build something in the middle, kind of proxy, which will be understand communication on the one side with LLM, and the other will be talking with with the classic protocols. So I will start doing research how it's happening, how AI knows like what to call it. There must be something, some exchange, because in the in the media you see they automatically detected agent, and then automatically LLM know that this agent is called I don't know, Richard too, and he can do generate I don't know ticket or send you for vacation or one. That's on abstract level. And for engineers, we know that we both know there is no magic. There needs to be something which is happening, and this is I would like to explain in my talk. Like there's a dedicated protocol which has dedicated requests, and one of the requests is, for example, tell me what kind of resources you have. Tell me what kind of tools you have. So in fact. When LLM start talking with MCP, the MCP send all the information about himself to LLM, and LLM just need to remember about this, and don't need to remember everything, because they can send only let's say abstract of information, and then still LLM has the typical request like, okay, tell me more about this. Tell me, for example, what kind of data, what kind of type of data you're expecting. So this was okay. Now I understand how it's working.
Yeah.
And so on. So again, topic is very huge.
Why do you think is what is in your opinion as a tester? Why should I really take care of it? Which interfaces and APIs are used in there? Why is that so important for me?
Well, again, I started because I have mindset,
Yeah,
I'm not
I know you're an
normal
engineer.
person.
Yeah.
I need to understand. I need to break it,
Yeah.
see how it's working, and then
Yeah.
But in fact, the report that I will be talking about give me the answer for that. And this report showing like first of all, it's showing like in order to build product which can be successfully shipped and start bringing revenue, you don't need to have, for example, front end. For me, it was something new that I didn't expect. I was rather, narrow-minded, like, okay, back and front, and there needs to be some kind of application. There might be, microservices behind, but still needs to be some kind of, website URL that you start dealing with. Of course, you need to log in and do some actions. And this report showed that this is not true. That more and more companies just delivering, backend, paid API, and you're buying subscription for API, can do whatever they deliver. And having few of that, you can build some kind of network, and then, for example, you can deliver serverless solution, which is using three different paid API and giving some other different value because they already collected or pre-processed something and deliver it. This was one thing. And the other thing, when we start talking about the MCP, also this report showed that even the developers know what is MCP, even they using this, and we know that testers also using the agentic systems and believe that. Fun fact is that very few organizations designing API in terms of the optimization of for used by agents or used by API only. This is still kind of mindset like we have some kind of business idea. We cut those business ideas some kind of domain, subdomain, stuff like this, and this will be implemented in the code. Effect is that maybe this is logically for human. It's fine because there's I don't know, order under order you have I don't know, some kind of invoice, blah blah blah. There's some kind of logical path like you're building in the URI, but for agent it hasn't been like that. And this was kind of big surprise, like, oh, so we can do optimization even on architectural level if we understood what kind of clients we have. And this is not new knowledge for testers. We always knew that first of all we need to identify our stakeholders. We need to talk with them. We need to understand what's mean good quality for them. But if we're looking on that again from engineering perspective, nobody is asking AI whether they would like to have 5 requests to get some or one. Okay, I'm simplifying, but on the end of the day, in the budget, you will see how many tokens has been used. And if you have API, optimize for cooperation with agent, probably there will be less. And we all dealing, not only IT, with the problem like not enough, power, not enough, tokens, the subscriptions going up and probably will be going up. The models are bigger, so the context is bigger, so we can, put more data in the context. And this is not like we would like to have, give me this, and then generate, but well-designed API, it should help. So this is yet another the goal. Like, if someone after my talk will come back and I don't know, ask about in the organization, the architect, whether do we have policy, like whether we have overview, architecture overview, how we supposed to deliver some kind of APIs, how it's supposed to look like under the hood. then I will think that it will be successful.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea to think about the quality of an API, not just if it works, but is it also in a, I think, well-formed architecture to save tokens, to save resources and calls behind that, and to look at the tester also at this quality characteristic
Yes,
of
yes.
an API. Yeah.
Well, last year, I guess we have big trend about the sustainability, being green and save the resources. Now we are in AI age, so forget about green.
Take my money.
Give me more power. So,
Yeah.
but again, I think that will come back, especially in European Union. Will very quickly come back. Like, okay, efficiency first of all. The performance. We can say that all performance testing is old stuff, but if it's right performance, implemented and the right test being done, then those kind of questions should pop up. How we can do better, how we can spend less resources. Improving our performance is not like giving, golden card to AWS, give me more resources, but this is the hard way. This is engineering way, and we know that. Again, because of expertise, because of level of difficulties, again, because I guess lack of people, and they are still not allowed, not skilled enough to give that kind of stuff. So this is the real defect with the big value, with the big severity, and the big influence of the system. So it is.
What do you think a tester who now hears this episode and says, okay, I'm just a normal front-end guy and now I hear all the API stuff. What would you give him for a tip to start dealing with APIs? Which architecture is maybe the easiest one to learn, and how to learn it, how to start to get in contact with this deep back-end stuff, this engineering stuff, when I have so not really a plan.
Yeah, the first of all, don't worry. It's not gonna kick you, not gonna bite you. Well, honestly, and observing the community from Poland, I think that our front-end engineers already are much aware about that. I think that every day they already deal with the situation like they front-end tests are too slow. So it's the best way to speed up? Let's eliminate pre-hooks or pre-action, post-action, and move them slower. For example, to API. So I expect that probably everyone already have today test scenario like pre-test action is being done via the API. Then you have then you pop up some kind of browser, click, closing the browser and clean up doing via API. I don't believe that advanced engineer still playing with all preparation. So I think they already know. If don't know, probably they're supposed to go in that way. Yet another proof that this is not only Polish case. Playwright. Playwright also very quickly has the client for API. So when you going dive into Playwright, which is typical front end tool, you already have the client. And I remember by the old time that you have to install additional client, do some hacking. Now the authors of all this framework already know that this is basic stuff, so they supposed to know. So I think that definitely this is if you're not doing yet that kind of stuff, this is your next step in the career to start going into. Or if you're already doing, then REST is not the only protocol on the world. There are other protocols, and it's easy and nice to know about that. Mocking also is very easy because then you can test edge cases on the front end, so you can prepare that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think this is a lot of fun, and again for me this is much more stable interface. Even in my daily job, when I working is that I have I'm leader of a few people, and I have a young lady who is very eager to doing playwright testing, and her love is that let's do full end-to-end automation, because end-to-end automation is a king. We're supposed to have always end-to-end, and we always have struggle like okay, be careful to analyze this. Pick up only scenarios that you have to do it. Rest, let's go down. And I always showing, you see, I have 2,000 of API tests, which they work in the same time like 300 playwright scenarios. So of course this is not the that tournament who is doing, because some of need to be covered here and there, but still this is for me kind of proof like. Better stability and even now we have self-healing front-end scenarios, so maybe soon we'll be also stable, and with the changing website will be again stable, and the self-heal correct, and they will keep working. But still, this is requires some additional work, processing time stuff. So I think the good testing strategy is supposed to have definitely both. I know that test pyramid is always somewhere. Uh, I'm not sure whether the amount of the tests should be exactly like pyramid. I think that testers, on the end of the day, should sit down, analyze the feature, and really, honestly tell to themselves, like on which level will be the best, and definitely fight with the developers to do unit testing.
As you said, I think that's the closing loop to decide if a test is good at API level or at end-to-end level. You have to understand a little bit of API and not just knowing the end-to-end stuff. So to make a good mix, it's good to know both levels and then to decide together where do we what on which level.
Exactly. You understand which layer gives you what kind of features. Because definitely there will be some features front-end wise only, and definitely they need to be tested in that way, and back-end wise only like this. And one more thing, for example, I'm also here conducted a workshop, and the input to the workshop is just Swagger documentation. Like at the very beginning, I just showing people this is your server. You have only this documentation. Guess what is the logical happy flow of this application. And I think that at the very beginning, when we are in the cycle of the process development, we don't have as a tester privilege to wait till very end as we go full flow with a nicely looking front and stuff like this. We need to understand what is happening in the backend. We need to understand how to read this documentation, understand, start already doing our test, and whenever front end is ready, then just run it. Waiting is a waste, and we know that waste is not good.
Seba, thank you very much for this insights. I think it makes a good perspective on the different API stuff and how to deal with it and why to deal with APIs and MCP nowadays in the AI world. Thank you so much that you were here.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you have a good talk afterwards and
I already stressed.
Now you had the rehearsal here, so everything fine. And enjoy the rest of the conference and also Mauritius, and also next week the ISTQB workshops and working groups and all this
GA.
stuff. Sitting in air-conditioned, cold working group rooms and dealing with testing stuff.
This is part of the experience. Like, first of all, you're not sitting there alone. This is the unique opportunity that all those other crazy people like you, that you're just taking vacation from paid job, then doing voluntary work somewhere, not always with the that nice place like Mauritius, but somewhere. It's not a normal behavior. So you are sitting with group of that crazy people, and you have enjoying to each other.
That's true. We are all a little bit crazy. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too as well.